Episode 2: The Ones Who Waited. You're watching Unforgotten Chronicles, where the past doesn't stay silent and the unexplained refuse to fade. There is something more disturbing than fear: anticipation. Fear reacts, anticipation prepares. Fear is instinct, anticipation is intention, and across decades, across continents, there are people who didn't panic, didn't flee, and didn't scream. They waited, not for help, not for rescue, not even for something they understood, but for something they believed was coming. And what they were waiting for is the part no one can explain. Case 1: The Appointment on the Hill. The Lead Mask Case. In Niterói, Brazil, 1966. On August 17th, 1966, two electronic technicians, Manuel Pereira da Cruz and Miguel Jose Vian, began a journey that made no logical sense. They told their families they were going to buy supplies. They withdrew a large amount of cash. They purchased raincoats, and then they climbed a hill overlooking the city. Not in hiking clothes, not in work uniforms, but in formal suits, pressed, deliberate, as if they were attending a meeting. They carried a notebook, bottled water, a plastic bag, and two objects they had crafted themselves. Lead masks, shaped in to cover only the eyes. Lead shields radiation, light, and burst, exposure. But these weren't full masks, just the eyes, as if they expected something bright, but not harmful to the rest of the body. Inside the notebook were instructions. 1830, ingest capsules, protect metals, await signal. That last line is the one investigators never knew what to do with. Await signal. Not look for a signal. Not if something happens. Await. A command. A certainty. They reached the top of the hill. They lay down side by side, placed the mask over their eyes. Hands folded, faces turned upwards. Not hiding. Not shielding themselves. Not bracing for impact. Waiting. When they were found, days later, both were dead. No trauma, no struggle, no confirmed poison, no cause of death. The capsules they were supposed to ingest, never found. The money they carried, gone. The signal they awaited, never identified. But here's the detail that gets overlooked. If you expect danger, you run. If you expect something sacred, you kneel. If you expect something unknown, you watch. But they lay flat, as if surrendering to gravity, as if positioning themselves for something overhead, as if they knew the direction it would come from. And whatever they were waiting for, it left no trace. Case 2. The Man Who Knew the Weak. Christopher Case, Seattle, Washington, 1991. Christopher Case was the kind of man who didn't believe in the supernatural. He worked in the music industry. He was analytical, disciplined, grounded. But in April of 1991, something changed. He told his friends he had been cursed, that he had angered someone, that something had been put in motion. And then he said something very chilling. He wouldn't live to see the next week. Not, I feel sick. Not, I'm scared. He gave a timeline, 7 days. He began preparing his apartment like a fortress, candles placed in corners, salt lines across doorways, bowls of water arranged with precision, charms positioned like instruments in a ritual, not random, not chaotically, methodically. He called friends, apologizing in advance. He said he was being attacked. He said he was running out of time. But here's what's strange. He did not seek medical help for chest pain. He didn't call emergency services. He didn't behave like someone dying of illness. He behaved like someone bracing for arrival. When he was found in the bathtub, it was filled with water, still, untouched. No signs of struggle, no overturned objects, no chaos, just a man who had prepared for something and then quietly stopped living. Official cause: myocarditis, a natural inflammation of the heart. But myocarditis doesn't explain anticipation. It doesn't explain certainty. It doesn't explain why someone would spend their final days preparing, waiting, aligning themselves for something unseen, something he believed was coming for him. And whatever he expected, he believed it would arrive on schedule. Case 3. The Voice Over the Water. Frederick Valentich, Bay Strait, Australia, 1978. Frederick Valentich was a 20-year-old pilot, ambitious, experienced enough to fly solo, calm under pressure. On October 21st, 1978, he took off in a small Cessna on a routine flight, clear skies, no storms, no warnings. Then he radioed air traffic control. He described something in the sky. 4 lights, metallic, hovering, moving in ways an aircraft shouldn't, orbiting him, orbiting, as if studying him. His voice wasn't panicked. It wasn't frantic. It was analytical, focused. Then he said the words, "It's not an aircraft." 17 seconds of metallic scraping followed, a sound no one has ever fully explained. Then silence. No wreckage, no body, no confirmed debris. Just ocean, deep enough to swallow evidence, deep enough to swallow certainty. If he were hallucinating, he would have sounded distressed, confused, erratic. But he didn't. He sounded like someone recognizing something unfamiliar, but real. And then he was gone. The thread no one pulls. 3 situations, 3 decades, 3 continents, no connection, no shared background, no overlapping lives, except for one thing: expectation. They weren't reacting, they weren't surprised, they weren't even caught off guard. They were positioned, prepared, waiting. What if the most terrifying thing isn't that something is out there, but that sometimes it answers? Not dramatically, not with explosions, not with invasions, but with subtlety, quietly, in ways that leave no clear mark. What if contact doesn't look like a landing, but like alignment, a signal transmitted, a frequency matched, a body overwhelmed, a disappearance? We spent decades scanning the skies, listening, broadcasting, and searching. What if sometimes the search is reciprocal? And what if the person who experienced it didn't survive the translation? Maybe nothing cosmic happened. Maybe it was illness, disorientation, experimentation gone wrong. But then why the preparation? Why the certainty? Why the waiting? Some mysteries scream, these didn't. They whispered. And whispers are hard to ignore because they sound like they were meant for someone specific. This is Unforgotten Chronicles, where the unexplained is never abandoned and the forgotten are never truly gone. If you enjoy the content that I put out on this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And remember to never forget.